Ethan was a young and spirited park ranger, just embarking on his career in a vast national park. His love for nature and wildlife had blossomed in childhood, and becoming a guardian of the wild had always been his dream. Each morning, he greeted the day with excitement, ready for new adventures and eager to aid the creatures he was entrusted to protect. The national park was teeming with wildlife, but it was most renowned for its majestic population of African lions. Around 30 lions roamed the park's expanse, and Ethan felt a deep, personal duty to ensure their safety and well-being. One early morning, with the sky still painted in soft hues of pink and orange, Ethan set off in his Jeep to begin his patrol. The air was cool and invigorating, infused with the scent of dew-covered plants and blooming wildflowers. His route led him through a rugged region dotted with rocky formations, home to one of the park's lion prides. These rocks provided ideal shelter, shade, and perfect vantage points for hunting, making it a natural haven for the big cats. As Ethan neared the rocky outcrops, he spotted a group of young lions frolicking near the edge of a steep cliff. Their playful tumbles and carefree chases brought a smile to his face, but also a flicker of concern. He knew how treacherous that area could be, especially for young, inexperienced cubs. Suddenly, Ethan noticed a section of the rock beginning to crumble beneath the cub's paws. His pulse quickened. He prayed the adult lions would intervene in time to call the youngsters away from the brink. One of the elder lions sensed the danger and rose swiftly, letting out a powerful roar that echoed through the hills, urging the cubs to retreat. But the playful young ones, too caught up in their game, didn't immediately respond. The older lion, realizing the urgency, began striding toward them, his massive frame thudding against the rocky ground. His commanding roar finally caught the cubs' attention, and they started backing away from the edge. But it was already too late. The heavy lion's approach triggered the inevitable collapse. A chunk of the cliff gave way, and one of the young lions tumbled over the edge. Ethan gasped as he saw the lion vanish, but then relief surged through him. The cub had managed to grab hold of a narrow, rocky ledge, clinging on for dear life. Still, it was in a critical position and wouldn't last much longer without help. Wasting no time, Ethan grabbed his radio and called for immediate backup, urgently describing the situation. He knew the clock was ticking. Every second counted. Jumping into action, Ethan steered his Jeep closer to the cliff. To perform a safe rescue, he first had to clear the area of other lions. He honked repeatedly, maneuvering the vehicle to create noise and movement that would scare the pride away. Thankfully, his plan worked. Slowly, the lions retreated, leaving the cliffside clear. The moment the last lion disappeared, Ethan leapt out of the Jeep and raced to the edge. Peering down, he saw the young lion gripping the rock, its claws slipping, eyes wide with panic. Its cries pierced the quiet morning. Knowing he had little time, Ethan dashed back to the vehicle, pulled strong ropes from the trunk, and began unrolling them. He calculated how best to secure the lion and pull it to safety. Just then, he heard the rumble of approaching jeeps. Reinforcements had arrived. His fellow rangers jumped out and immediately sprang into action, following Ethan's lead. Working swiftly, they assembled a rope system and began lowering it toward the stranded cub. Ethan, who had started the rescue, volunteered for the riskiest task, climbing close enough to secure the rope around the lion. Inch by inch, he edged toward the brink and lowered the rope. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue the story, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us. Thank you. The young lion remarkably didn't resist. It seemed to understand that the humans were trying to help. Its amber eyes, filled with a mix of fear and trust, met Ethan's. Summoning all his strength and focus, Ethan managed to loop the rope around the lion's body. The cub instinctively jerked, nearly losing its grip, but the rangers murmured calming words. Incredibly, the animal seemed to understand and stilled, allowing Ethan to finish securing the rope. With a deep breath, Ethan gave the signal. The rangers gripped the rope and began to pull. The task was grueling. The lion's weight, combined with the unstable ground, made each tug a test of endurance. But they didn't give up. Inch by inch, they hauled the animal upward, fueled by determination. Finally, after several tense minutes, the lion's head crested over the edge. A few more coordinated pulls, and the young lion was safe, collapsed on the grass, panting but alive. The rangers stepped back, giving the creature space, all except Ethan. Ethan remained beside the lion, compelled by something deep within him. Slowly, he knelt down, his eyes locking with the animal's. In that still moment, an unspoken understanding passed between them. The lion showed no signs of aggression, only a quiet gaze that seemed to carry something close to gratitude. Gently, Ethan began to untie the ropes. The lion didn't flinch, allowing him to work, remaining motionless on the grass. When the final rope was removed, the great beast slowly rose. It turned to Ethan once more, gave a low, rumbling sound. A roar softened to the edge of a purr, then walked calmly away toward its pride. The rangers stood frozen, awestruck by what they had just witnessed. A bond, formed in the heart of danger, had bridged the gap between human and wild. After that unforgettable day, life in the park resumed its rhythm. Ethan returned to his daily routines, but the image of the lion he had rescued lingered in his mind. He often scanned the rocky outcrops during patrols, hoping to catch a glimpse of the animal. Deep down, though, he knew such an encounter was unlikely. Months passed, and the monsoon season arrived, a time that brought unease to every ranger in the park. The rains came heavy and relentless, turning paths into rivers and slopes into hazards. Floods and landslides became constant threats, endangering both people and animals. One morning, during a particularly violent downpour, Ethan was out on patrol. The rain lashed at the windshield, and the wipers struggled to keep up. Visibility was poor, and the park felt cloaked in mist and tension. Up ahead, Ethan spotted a large tree that had fallen across the trail. He brought the Jeep to a halt and stepped out, tugging his hood up against the storm. The sound of rain filled the air as he trudged through the mud toward the tree, thinking about the small creatures that might have lost their homes in its collapse. He was so lost in thought that he didn't hear the growing roar at first. When the sound finally registered, it was already too late. Ethan spun around and saw it. A massive wall of earth, mud, and debris barreling toward him. A landslide. Adrenaline surged. He turned and ran toward the Jeep, but realized instantly he wouldn't make it in time. The only possible shelter was the fallen tree. With seconds to spare, he scrambled onto the trunk, climbing as high as he could and locking his limbs around it in a desperate grip. Then the landslide hit. A thunderous force slammed into him. Mud roared past like a river, trying to wrench him free. Ethan held tight, his arms and legs burning, willing himself not to let go. The world became a blur of cold, weight, and noise. When the rush finally slowed, Ethan found himself pinned beneath a suffocating layer of earth. A small air pocket near his face gave him breath, but his body was trapped, unable to move. Fear clawed at him, but he fought to stay calm. Panic would only make things worse. Time became meaningless. Ethan had no idea how long he'd been buried. He knew the parks team would be overwhelmed dealing with the aftermath of the landslide. Would anyone notice he was missing? Suddenly, a sound, barely audible, rose above the oppressive silence. A soft rustle, like something shifting on the surface above him. Through a narrow slit of light and debris, he glimpsed movement. For a brief moment he thought he saw fur. Sandy, golden fur. His heart pounded. Was it real, or just a hallucination born of fear and exhaustion? But the sound grew louder, more deliberate. Then Ethan felt the weight above him start to shift. Gradually, deliberately. It was as though someone or something was digging. The crushing pressure on his chest began to ease, bit by bit. Could it be a rescue team? Or had an animal stumbled upon him by pure chance? Then came a sound that froze his blood. A deep, echoing roar. Not threatening, but unmistakable. A lion. And yet, There was no fear in the sound.
No menace.
Only power, presence, recognition. Moments later, voices pierced through the storm. Human voices. The other rangers were near. With the last of his strength, Ethan tried to call out. A raspy whisper escaped his throat. But it was enough. They were coming. Somehow they knew where to look. Minutes felt like lifetimes. Then, a sliver of light. The debris was pulled back, and cool air rushed in. Ethan gasped, drawing in a life-giving breath. Blinking against the brightness, he saw shapes above him, hands reaching down. Strong arms lifted him free from the mud. He coughed, exhausted, but conscious and alive. And then, standing beside the group of rescuers, Ethan saw it. The lion, drenched, its golden coat darkened by rain and caked with mud. The beast stood tall and silent. Yet, even in its weathered state, Ethan recognized it immediately. It was the same lion, the one he had saved on the edge of the cliff months before. And now, against all odds, it had returned the favor. It had found him. Somehow, the animal had located the exact spot where Ethan was, buried, and had begun digging. Its strange behavior had drawn the attention of the rangers, who followed its lead and uncovered their missing comrade. Ethan was alive because of this lion. Staring at the animal, disbelief and awe swelled in his chest. That a wild predator would not only remember him but seek him out and save him. It defied everything he thought he knew about the natural world. The lion held his gaze. No growl, no roar, just a look intense, steady, and knowing. In that silent exchange, something passed between them again. A connection beyond language, beyond instinct. It wasn't just survival, it was recognition, respect, gratitude, perhaps even friendship. In the days that followed, something extraordinary began to unfold. The lion, once cautious and distant around humans, no longer shied away. It didn't approach, but during Ethan's patrols it would appear watching from a distance, calm and quiet. And each time Ethan would meet its gaze, that same wordless bond, unshaken by time or storm, remained. It was a living reminder that even in the harshest corners of the wild, where nature obeys no rule but its own, kindness could echo back. That trust, once given, could bridge even the greatest divide. And that sometimes, when you reach out to save a life, that life might just come back to save yours. The incredible story of mutual rescue between a man and a lion quickly spread throughout the park and far beyond its borders. It became a powerful symbol of how kindness and compassion can transcend even the deepest divides, reaching across the boundaries that separate species. People from all walks of life, upon hearing the tale, were moved. Many began to see the relationship between humans and wild animals through a new lens, not just as one of cautious coexistence, but as something that could also hold empathy, trust, and even friendship. Did you enjoy the story? Do you believe that a true bond can exist between humans and animals? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more real-life tales of connection, courage, and compassion. Because sometimes all it takes is a single act of kindness to tear down the walls that divide us, even the ones between man and beast. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and have a wonderful day.